Jeremiah Love is a player that you have to keep an eye out on just because of a running back, his versatility, how good he is in the receiving game this year. We haven't seen a running back potentially crack the top three when you just think about it with the Heisman Trophy back there. Jeremiah Love just dominant. If Notre Dame wins out and they're in the college football playoff, Love should be involved in the conversation.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Starts off on a positive note of getting Lamar Jackson back Thursday night, which was great. He threw for 200 yards, did not look rusty at all. He only rushed for 15, but he didn't really need that. Lamar Jackson also threw for 4 touchdowns, 2 of which going to Mark Andrews. So guess who's back and relative again at the tight end position now that Lamar's back? Oh, wait, it's Mark Andrews. No kidding. I mean, the guy just catches touchdowns. It's Lamar's favorite guy in the red zone.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Fly Pelican, more like grounded Pelican. The Pelicans are 0-6 to start the season. Their main guys aren't their main guys. And it comes to a point where, what do you do if you are Joe Dumars and the leadership of New Orleans?
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Blue Jays are going to be dangerous for years to come because they have money. They're a fun team. Other players like Guerrero, the Blue Jays are a first-class organization. They treat the players very well. They're first-class complex. As I stated earlier, you can live like across the street from the stadium and there's no drama. You don't have to sit in traffic ever. You have an entire country that buys your jerseys and are big fans of yours.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
It's the Early Line, people. It's the SportsGrid Network. It is time for hour number 2 and everything we need to do to ramp up your knowledge for NFL, college football, NBA, NHL. We will do that for you this morning. It's Donnie Rightside. It's Joe Ranieri. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern, setting the table for the rest of your SportsGrid day. And today, Joe, setting your table for a SportsGrid weekend.
I love it, Donnie. Like you said, we got a little bit of something for everybody here with a full weekend of college basketball now. Don't forget, of course, college football. I mean, Saturday, tomorrow alone is going to be – there is a whole lot going on tomorrow, leading into what should be a great Week 10 in the NFL slate for sure.
And by the way, quick PSA from the game last night, right? The game actually stunk, but I always like to get back to what makes sense for the people and what we want. The Denver Broncos uniforms last night, absolutely stunningly spectacular. But they won't wear them. Why? Because they're the best uniforms that they have. Just like every NFL team, Joe, that I look at that goes to their throwback uniforms, which are so much better than their current uniforms, why can't you just give the people what they want? I don't understand, Joe. That uniform is beautiful. That is the 1980s Denver Broncos. That's the John Elway Denver Broncos. What a look last night. But why do we have to go back to the other uniforms, which look horrendous compared to the ones last night?
I agree, Donnie. Like, I mean, sometimes if it ain't broke, like, why are we fixing it, Donnie? Like, seriously. Like, enough's enough already. Ridiculous.
Yeah. Don't get me started on the Eagles and the Kelly Greens, or when the Chargers go out in their pea soup green uniforms instead of the beautiful powder blues. Makes me angry at this point. Let's get to the early lineup. The hottest news topics here across the sports landscape, and some tragic topics as well, which we'll deal with here. And Marshawn Nealon yesterday passed away by suicide. You saw the information come through, all the outlets reporting here. The Dallas Cowboys sounded a statement yesterday. The NFL certainly deeply saddened as well. It's tough when one of your brothers goes down here, but also it wasn't on the football field. It was just a tragic event off the field that if you're out there and you are struggling, get some help. Your phone call away. Call one of your family members. Call your best friend, or even the opposite. You think somebody's struggling. Give them a phone call here to ask them how they're doing here. So many ways to get around this, but a tragic situation for the Dallas Cowboys as Marshawn Nealon passed away yesterday.
Just terrible across the board. 24 years old. I mean, just totally unacceptable right now. And again, we've heard from a number of different people. Man, it doesn't cost anything, Donnie, to, just to ask, hey, how are you doing, man? We're so quick to try to take people down. You just never know what somebody is going through, man. It really is heartbreaking for the family, for his girlfriend, for the police that were involved in this. It's bad all the way around. And, I hope we can pull something positive out of this. And, man, pick up the phone, talk to somebody if you're going through it right now.
You're right. It's a good point you bring up too also, Joe, because it's not even just about the person that, committed the act or the suicide here. It's the people that find that person, and those memories, they don't go away either at this point. It's tragedy all the way around. So hopefully people out there that need some help can certainly get that help now. Antonio Brown, he's going to need some help from the United States District Attorney to say, no, maybe he didn't commit this crime. He got extradited from Dubai back to the U.S., Joe.
Yeah, I mean, shortly after this thing happened, about 4 or 5 months ago, Donnie, where, shots were ringing out at a boxing match in Miami, he took off. He has basically been on the run for the last 4 months, but that didn't stop him, Donnie, from posting frequently on social media in a sports car, at a barbershop, at a pool, basically taunting the authorities, who then basically figured out he was in Dubai. And, well, guess what? He's not in Dubai anymore now.
Oh, boy. Denver Broncos last night, maybe they were in Dubai with their offense. 10-7, but they'll take the victory of their 8th of the season to stay up top of the AFC West with that victory over the Las Vegas Raiders.
Awful game. But, listen, nobody's going to remember that you were absolutely horrific offensively in a couple of weeks. They're just going to remember, Broncos, you're 8-2. And you got to win the games that are there. But I can tell you this, if we don't get a little more consistency in that offense, then teams like, the Kansas City Chiefs, good luck. That defense ain't going to be able to win you that game.
Craig Stammen, new manager of the San Diego Padres, as we like to say. Hey, Craig, can you read this paper? Read it back to me. Yep, I can do that. You're the manager. Congratulations.
Listen, Donnie, we've already hired a college coach with no professional experience. We hired a 33-year-old in Washington. And now we just hired a former reliever who retired just, 2.5 years ago, and has never coached or managed at any level. So, being a Major League Baseball manager apparently means a lot. What?
Damon,
what are we doing?
Maybe read, see the percentages, put it in, be done with it. Damon Jones enters a non-guilty plea in his betting case here. It's more refreshing. Why can't these guys just get caught and admit the guilt, take a lower sentence, stop wasting taxpayers' money, and keep it moving?
He had to put up his parents' house his parents' house as
tough scene.
Collateral.
Not his.
So that means one of two things: either all the money that he made illegally, it's still stashed somewhere, and he can't show that he has any money, or basically he's broke and probably is guilty of sin. So just optics are everything, Donnie.
By the way, how about this optics here? If you are 7'9" and play basketball, you should absolutely crush your competition. Now, Oliver Ryu, if I can pronounce that correctly, he's 7'9". He plays for Florida. He doesn't get in games. He finally got in a game. In a game, they won by 40 points. 2 minutes, no points, no assists, no rebounds. You make me 7'9", I'll have 50, 40, and 30 every single night. Man didn't even get on a stat line in a 40-point win here. What's he on scholarship for?
What, 7'9", $160? What? Please, somebody feed this man, will you please? What in the world is he going to be like in a couple of years? But if you're Florida, right, how are you not putting him on the team at 7'9"?
I don't get it. He's redshirted. He redshirted and couldn't go like, you're 7'9". You should say, you know what? Just go out there and stand there. You will be a force. You can be that bad at basketball at 7'9". It's almost impossible. Here, look, reach your arm out, block this. Reach your arm out, block this. Oh yeah, reach up and dunk the basketball. You don't have to jump. No points last night. And by the way, Joe, he played 2 minutes in a 40-point victory. This wasn't like, oh, no, we can't play him against Alabama on the road in a big spot here. Northern Florida, you won by 40. ESPN bet, they're out of the box, Joe. Congratulations.
They're easing him in, Donnie. They're easing him in here. Let's not throw him to the wolves right away at 7-9.
By the way, you want to ease in the score for ESPN bet? How's that going to work out? In 1 year, Joe, give me the odds. The score. Are they still involved with Penn?
Oh, I think they will, because they've always been involved with Penn, Donnie. They've had a relationship with them for a while, but, they decided go big or go home, right? I mean, the score is out of Canada. They've had a very good working relationship, and now it's going to be even better. But, that was a $2 billion deal, supposed to be a 10-year, $2 billion deal they signed 2 years ago with ESPN, and they were hemorrhaging money hand over fist. So, again, like most things with ESPN, it's okay. Not exactly the moneymaker you thought it was.
By the way, they should have got Jimmy Sexton to be the agent for ESPN, where it's like, oh, you want it after 1 or 2 years? You owe us 8 years left on this contract, fully guaranteed. Yep. But luckily, that wasn't the case. Penn pulls the plug on ESPN bet, goes to the score. Understand this. Like, yes, you don't have the name recognition of a DraftKings or a FanDuel. Do you know how you get, Joe, that recognition here? You give good bonuses, you give good boost, and you give fair pricing. And voila, you have a really good sports book. Why can't people understand this, or sports book operators understand this, Joe?
I have no idea, Donnie. It was the wild, wild west, and now a lot of companies are learning from their mistakes. It's all going to keep changing, too.
All going to keep changing. And also, you know what else keeps changing here? The NFL landscape and much more. It's a Friday on the network here. No better place to be. We'll be right back.
Jeremiah Love is a player that you have to keep an eye out on just because of a running back, his versatility, how good he is in the receiving game this year. We haven't seen a running back potentially crack the top three when you just think about it with the Heisman Trophy back there. Jeremiah Love just dominant. If Notre Dame wins out and they're in the college football playoff, Love should be involved in the conversation.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Starts off on a positive note of getting Lamar Jackson back Thursday night, which was great. He threw for 200 yards, did not look rusty at all. He only rushed for 15, but he didn't really need that. Lamar Jackson also threw for 4 touchdowns, 2 of which going to Mark Andrews. So guess who's back and relative again at the tight end position now that Lamar's back? Oh, wait, it's Mark Andrews. No kidding. I mean, the guy just catches touchdowns. It's Lamar's favorite guy in the red zone.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Fly, Pelican, more like grounded Pelican. The Pelicans are 0-6 to start the season. Their main guys aren't their main guys. And it comes to a point where, what do you do if you are Joe Dumars and the leadership of New Orleans?
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Blue Jays are going to be dangerous for years to come because they have money. They're a fun team. Other players like Guerrero, the Blue Jays are a first-class organization. They treat the players very well. They're first-class complex. As I stated earlier, you can live like across the street from the stadium and there's no drama. You don't have to sit in traffic ever. You have an entire country that buys your jerseys and are big fans of yours.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
No better place to be than right here, right now on a Football Friday on the SportsGrid Network. It's the early line. It's Donnie Rightside and it's Joe Ranieri. Now we like to bring in our coach, our favorite coach. It's Coach Terry Bowden on a Football Friday to get us ready for all the information we need this weekend. Coach, how are we feeling today?
Just getting ready for football. It's going to be a great weekend. It's getting down to the pretenders and the contenders, and we're going to find some teams fall off the chart and some teams step up.
I love it. Before Thanksgiving, handling our business on the football field the way we do it. Coach, I want to start here with the Heisman Trophy race in college football. Julian Sayin, Fernando Mendoza, Ty Simpson. We'll get to that. But you as being a coach, tell me the part that the coach plays now, understanding that your guy has a chance to win the Heisman. Do you sort of pad his stats a little bit here, maybe edge those play calls to a guy like a quarterback like Julian Sayin or Mendoza? How do you handle that when your guy's in the race?
You know, be honest with you, yes, you do. Back when I was in Auburn, I had a quarterback named Damian Craig, and we threw the ball a lot. And we were playing Mississippi State and had to have a win late in the season. I said, Damian, get ready. We're going to throw it almost every time. You need to stack the yardage up. I was trying to pump him up, but at the same time, what it can do for your program overall, as long as it's a good game plan, I think you know what they might need. And I think right now with the way the Big Ten ends up, you probably were going to have two undefeated quarterbacks, and they've got to look good anyway.
All right, Coach. So we're heading into, like you said, put up or shut up time here. And to me, it looked like the market and a lot of people have already written off Missouri once they lost Bo Prabula, their quarterback. But I watched that game against Vandy, Coach, and that backup, Matt Zollers, listen, they're going to win with defense. They're going to win with running the ball. Don't turn the ball over. This is the best defense A&M has faced yet here. What are we getting in this game?
You know what? I still can't turn from A&M. A&M was playing too well. First of all, it's not their second quarterback. It's their third quarterback. Sam Horn was with Prabula going. They both got hurt. Now they're down to number 3. He did a good job coming in. This is his first start. But not only does Texas A&M have an outstanding offense, they've scored over 40 points 5 times, but they have 32 sacks for the year. They lead the nation. They're going to be all over that quarterback. I think it's going to be up to Ahmad Hardy, the running back, to give that quarterback a little bit of breathing room. But still, I just don't think they can stay that close. 6.5, too close. I've got to go with Texas A&M on this one.
How about this next game, Coach? Interesting one in the Big 12. BYU is undefeated and getting 10.5 points from Texas Tech. BYU lost their quarterback to transfer. Didn't matter. Still playing great football. Now we take a look at Texas Tech, who does have a loss, but they are electric on offense. A total of 52.5, Coach. Seems like an elimination-style game here. BYU, Texas Tech. What can we look out for?
Boy, I tell you, you got two good teams. This is the Big 12 right here. This is what it's all about. It's coming down to the two best teams. Texas Tech is hard to bet against. They play so well. They score points. They've got incredible defense. They took the NIL and placed it all around the team, so they're good on both sides of the ball. But BYU, they just find a way to win, and that's what they do. We know Arizona pulled off the upset against Texas Tech just a few weeks ago, 26-22. I don't know that I can bet on BYU to win, but I think the points are too much. I'm going to ride the points and an undefeated BYU football team.
Well, talking about finding ways to win, Coach, nobody does that better than Kirk Ferentz in Iowa here.
Yeah.
And now they got Oregon coming to town. This feels like it's either going to be last possession wins it or it's a blowout. I don't know that we get anything in between here. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm going to go with the last possession because there's certain things that are going on. And I'm kind of going with some underdogs this week, but you know what I like about Iowa? They get tough in November. Over the last 23 games they've played in November, they're 21-3. They're 17-3 at home in November. They're a running team that plays defense, giving up a little over 13 points a game. They're going to run the football when the weather gets cold and the wind starts to blow. That's what you got to do. I like it, Kinnick Field. I like Iowa and the points that they get. Not a pick that everybody likes, but I think they will play well. I'll take them in the points.
Coach, let's get to the SEC here. At night in Tuscaloosa, LSU travels in without Brian Kelly. Before the season, you might have thought this might have been a top 5 game between both of these. At least Alabama's holding up their end of the bargain, but it's still a rivalry game, Coach, and we're seeing out there in the marketplace as high as -10 for Alabama. How do we play LSU and Alabama here?
Well, you know, I think I just have to look at experience, what we're seeing this year. When teams fire their coach, the teams play better. Look what UCLA did. Look what Virginia Tech did for a couple of weeks. Arkansas, Florida almost beat Georgia. I think LSU rallies the troops, pulls together. And I think they play a heck of a football game. And I think they're going to play tight enough to take them in the points in this game. Alabama's going to win the football game, but I like LSU in the points again. And Alabama will say this: they may not need to run enough to win. They've got to become a better running team if they're going to get into the playoffs, or get far into the playoffs after the season.
All right, go, Coach. Notre Dame knows they got to just keep winning football games. They've got Navy, who I don't know what that was against North Texas, but Notre Dame, I don't know what the hell that was against BC either. So what are we thinking we get here, Coach?
Well, we get a little bit of last year, don't we? Last year we had the same hype about this game, except Navy was undefeated, and then talent versus system, 51-14, I think was the final score. Now, given Navy had 6 turnovers, but they've given up 31, 31, 32, and 31. Navy gives up points. What's going to happen in this game? Notre Dame defense is going to hold Navy. Navy defense will not hold Notre Dame. I'm going to take 4 touchdowns in Notre Dame. I just think when it comes to the talent, this is what happens when a Navy plays a Notre Dame in South Bend.
Look at that, Coach. Notre Dame dropped their first 2 football games to ranked opponents, a light schedule the rest of the way out, just handling their business week to week, and winning football games is paying off. Coach, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I'm telling you right now, that Big Ten championship game between Ohio State and Indiana, Cignetti's going to plant that flag, Coach. I'm feeling it.
Oh, I tell you, and Penn State's going to suffer because there's nothing he wants to do, but he wants to beat Penn State better than Ohio State, Penn State. So he's going to lay it on Penn State. These are going to be 2 undefeated teams, and probably a Heisman Trophy winner is going to come out of that game the next weekend.
I love it. College football with Coach Terry Bowden. Nothing better on a Friday. And by the way, we got him again on Saturday on College Football Today, so make sure you tune in tomorrow. Thanks, Coach. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah, man.
Away we go with the early line.
Starts off on a positive note of getting Lamar Jackson back Thursday night, which was great. He threw for 200 yards, did not look rusty at all. He only rushed for 15, but he didn't really need that. Lamar Jackson also threw for 4 touchdowns, 2 of which going to Mark Andrews. So guess who's back and relative again at the tight end position now that Lamar's back? Oh, wait, it's Mark Andrews. No kidding. I mean, the guy just catches touchdowns. It's Lamar's favorite guy in the red zone.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
If Jacoby Brissett was playing bad football for the past 3 weeks, Kyler Murray will be fully healthy, ready to go. Can't wait to get him on the field at Seattle and try to resurrect our season. Now you have Jacoby Brissett playing really good football. Putting Kyler Murray back in right now because he wasn't playing good football doesn't make any sense. The perfect storm here for Arizona. Hey, Kyler, going on IR takes the pressure off you. And Jacoby, you deserve the start. Go ahead and start, kid.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
And the amazing thing you're going to say about Tom Izzo for the jump is, Tom Izzo don't duck anybody. You want to hear who they have to play preseason? Kentucky, Duke, UNC, and Arkansas. This is not the Jimmy Boeheim Don't Leave New York Carrier Dome Classic. This guy plays people.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
We now have to figure out if they will be in the playoffs. They're the Super Bowl favorite and have shorter odds to miss the postseason as you and I sit here right now.
Right, but let me ask you this. Do you feel after this 5-4 record, 9 weeks, 10 weeks of the regular season, that their defense is as dominant as it was last year?
But the offense is better.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Oh, Kalshi Markets on a Friday here, setting the table for your sports weekend here in a different way that you can bet. Donnie Rightside and Joe Ranieri, we've been following along, and every single day we have a nice little section here to say, you know what? There are alternatives to FanDuel and DraftKings and Bet365 and all the sports books out there that maybe you can get a better price point or at least some leverage here on your wager where it's like, hey, you know what? Took a price point a week ago. 2 weeks later, I like the price point I sit at now. Let's sell out of the market here, Joe. One of those markets, pro basketball. That's the NBA, the MVP winner. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, whichever way you want to go. Right now, the favorite is Mr. SGA. And if I put $100 in there, Joe, and he wins the MVP, that pays back $313 back on that. Is SGA another MVP season, or is Luka going to be too much out there on the West Coast?
Listen, Donnie, I mean, this is the beautiful thing about calcium and predictive markets, right? I can take both of those guys, and I guarantee you both those numbers as the season progresses will make me money prior to. I don't care who wins it, but I know both of those guys will be much better prices, and we will, buying in now, I'll be able to sell that for a profit once we get to January or February. So I got no problem backing both of those guys in this situation.
Profitability, like the stock market here. Watch it rise and watch it drop day to day. Sell high, buy low. That's the way you got to go here at this point. How about this one? We're expecting the 250th birthday party of the United States next year, which would include a UFC 2026 White House event. The question here, Kalshi, is which fighters will be on this card here, Joe? Pereira, McGregor, O'Malley. You know what I went to? I saw McGregor. There's a yes and there's a no. I went to the no and said I'd place $100 on that. That would pay back $57 on that 100 for a total of $157. How the heck is Conor McGregor going to be fighting anywhere? Now, I know he likes Trump, and it would be a huge card to get to, and all the world would see it at this point. But there's no way, unless they bend multiple rules, Conor McGregor is fighting. I'm going no on McGregor here.
I don't see how he's passing a drug test, Donnie, which is the reason why he didn't fight Chandler, is because he didn't want to have to take for steroids. So no, absolutely not. No way do I think he'll fight here. But O'Malley, absolutely, because he's one of the few big names left here in the UFC that might actually draw some eyeballs here. And Pereira, how many more times are going to roll him out? Every time they have a fight now over the last 5 months, honey, they've had to put him at the card there. So I don't see that happening either. And I don't know if John Jones is on that list, but, he's always an option as well.
Yeah, you got to go with some of the fighters that have been down with like you make a phone call to Trump, like I want to get on this card and see if he can pull some strings. Who's the guy who used to wear the grill? Was it I want to say Covington? I'm going to be wrong on that. Who was like boys with Trump? Which one of the fighters
Colby
really likes Trump? Yeah, does he fight anybody or no? Is he retired? What's he
never
now?
Wins though. Yeah, no, he's still around, but he never wins. I mean, he is all hype and never beats anybody. So that's the problem. So no, you're going to need something that moves the needle there. And, John Jones is a guy, McGregor, those are the two biggies, but I don't know that you're going to get either to come out of retirement and do it.
By the way, we need a market price on who's going to throw a fight when they fight actually at the White House here in UFC. That could be a big market that you can dip into. How about this? And no surprise. Let's go to Major League Baseball. What will be Kyle Tucker's next team? You know who the favorite right now is? It's the Los Angeles Dodgers. The LA Dodgers. If they want him, they'll go get him and be fine. Now, granted, if you bet yes, it is the Dodgers, $100 pays back $358, Joe. If you bet to the no, $100 pays back $121 here. The Dodgers are always in on everybody that's good. Will they splurge on Kyle Tucker or let the rest of the league have at it with a free agent, Joe?
I don't know. I don't know why the Cubs wouldn't pony up here. It's not like they have a shortage of money. I mean, there are a few teams that have a ton of money that never really spend it. Could the Giants be in that list here? The Padres have been known to spend some money. So I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that he's just going to go to the Dodgers, but it is worth monitoring because he is one of the biggest free agent names on the market.
Yeah, dipping through some of these other options at Kalshi. You can get out here like Pro Football Coach of the Year, Shane Steichen here, and Mike Vrabel. You take a look at Pro Basketball's Most Improved Player, Josh Giddey, Denny Avdija at this point. So many different ways. And also, I like this one, Joe. It's never too early to get this started. AL MVP winner, Aaron Judge or Cal Raleigh. Now, let me click on this because is this year or next year? Okay, if Aaron Judge wins the Pro Baseball MVP in 2025, so you could still bet Aaron Judge and Cal Raleigh, which I don't think you can on FanDuel or DraftKings, Joe. Have that correct?
I don't believe that, because the votes are already in. So I don't know.
Somebody knows something. Somebody knows something, Joe. You know, we know NFL. We'll get back to it next, right here on the early line.
Starts off on a positive note of getting Lamar Jackson back Thursday night, which was great. He threw for 200 yards, did not look rusty at all. He only rushed for 15, but he didn't really need that. Lamar Jackson also threw for 4 touchdowns, 2 of which going to Mark Andrews. So guess who's back and relative again at the tight end position now that Lamar's back? Oh, wait, it's Mark Andrews. No kidding. I mean, the guy just catches touchdowns. It's Lamar's favorite guy in the red zone.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
If Jacoby Brissett was playing bad football for the past 3 weeks, Kyler Murray will be fully healthy, ready to go. Can't wait to get him on the field at Seattle and try to resurrect our season. Now you have Jacoby Brissett playing really good football. Putting Kyler Murray back in right now because he wasn't playing good football doesn't make any sense. The perfect storm here for Arizona. Hey, Kyler, going on IR takes the pressure off you. And Jacoby, you deserve the start. Go ahead and start, kid.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
And the amazing thing you're going to say about Tom Izzo for the jump is, Tom Izzo don't duck anybody. You want to hear who they have to play preseason? Kentucky, Duke, UNC, and Arkansas. This is not the Jimmy Boeheim Don't Leave New York Carrier Dome Classic. This guy plays people.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
We now have to figure out if they will be in the playoffs. They're the Super Bowl favorite and have shorter odds to miss the postseason as you and I sit here right now.
Right, but let me ask you this. Do you feel after this 5-4 record, 9 weeks, 10 weeks of the regular season, that their defense is as dominant as it was last year?
But the offense is better.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Let's bring it back over to the NFL and have some fun with this weekend's action, which starts, Joe Ranieri, bright and early on Sunday morning. 9:30 a.m. Tea and Crimpets in Munich, Germany for a game between the Atlanta Falcons and the Indianapolis Colts. Michael Penix getting the start. Daniel Jones. We saw last week the Colts are a little bit vulnerable here. Sometimes on a week-to-week basis, we don't know what we're getting out of the Atlanta Falcons. This line, Joe, actually opened up here as, and I'm seeing a 1.5 for Atlanta. That's not correct, but it is 6.5 as we currently sit right now, and a 48.5 as a total. Overseas, Joe, can you trust either one of these ball clubs?
Yeah, I can trust the Colts. That's for sure, Donnie, which is the way I would look at this game here, given the fact, and I know to me this is a buy low spot, right? Because you're going to have a situation right now in which everyone is going to look at what Danny Dimes did in that last game against Pittsburgh, and 6 turnovers, and this is a matchup disaster right now. Here you have a Atlanta defense that the only reason they've had any success on is because they've been able to get pressure on quarterbacks and on teams. But the problem is the Colts are 5th in pass blocking efficiency here. They have one of the best offensive lines when it comes to pass protection. Yep. And by the way, do you want to know what the number 1 rushing team in the NFL is? It's the Indianapolis Colts. Jonathan Taylor has a huge advantage in this game, given the fact that Atlanta's defense has given up 46% rushing success. They rank 29th in that category, Donnie. They're not stopping Jonathan Taylor. They're not stopping what they're going to do over the middle. And by the way, you're looking at Lou Anarumo and a defense for the Indianapolis Colts, who, by the way, just added Sauce Gardner there to the mix here. Yeah, we're talking about an offense that can't score, Donnie. They're not a good scoring team. They barely score on 33% of their drives here. I just think all of this is a matchup nightmare for the Falcons. I think the Colts win. I think they cover, and likely by double digits.
Yeah, Buckner down in this game, which is a big loss to that defensive line for the Colts. But you do get Sauce Gardner fresh out of concussion protocol. Let's hear from Sauce Gardner here coming back.
I didn't even have time to like process it all the way. I just knew like I was coming into a great situation. So like I was running in circles in the house, like, because the first thing I'm thinking, like, bro, I'm about to be back with my boy Alec, like, you know, they winning right now, so I just know what I can add. Like, I was happy, you know, but at the same time, like, I didn't have no time to be like, dang, like, I'm getting traded right now. I was just all good vibes, because at the end of the day, you know, who gonna feel sorry? Like, that's part of the business. Just like these last couple of days, I've been having to learn the playbook at a pace that I didn't know I was capable of learning the playbook. So, but who gonna feel sorry for me? Nobody. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm not gonna say shocked was the word, because I know that what the coach offered was something that was hard to like pass up on. You know, especially how it's been over the years. So, it made sense.
I'll tell you who's upset. The Jets kid's upset. He don't want to see that press conference with Sauce over there in the blue. He don't want to see that. See that, Joe? Come on now. That little kid's pissed right now, but he does have some signed jerseys from Sauce Gardner the way they go. By the way, Sauce Gardner going to line up probably 1-on-1 for the majority of that game with Drake London. That's an awesome matchup.
It is, you know, and it's great. But again, the problem with the Falcons already is they're already 28th in scoring in the NFL, and they've got issues on their offensive line. They're going to have backups there. And you and I both know Lou Anarumo is going to figure it out here. And they're not going to be able to dump it off to Bijan Robinson. I think the Colts are going to get right in a big way in this game.
By the way, the great part about social media that we can watch those videos, get ready, Joe, in 20 years. Where's Jets kid now? And they do a whole expose on the kid that was viral in a Jets video from 2025 here. New England's going to take on Tampa Bay this weekend, and the favorite is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home, taking on the Patriots, one of the hottest teams in the NFL. If the Patriots want to win that AFC East and top off the Buffalo Bills, you got to win games like this to stay ahead of them. 48.5 is the total, Joe, but a 2.5-point dog. That is to the Patriots.
This is a big spot for both of these teams here, Donnie. You know, Tampa coming off the byes had a chance to get a little bit healthier here. New England, the whole world loves New England now. They're back to being, that team. They are good. Make no mistake about it. They're very well coached. They're getting great play from the young quarterback. They're being able to get explosive plays, which is great. To me, I think it's lined right, Donnie. I think this is a field goal game one way or the other, which is why New England would absolutely be used in teasers this week for me, because I don't think this is a blowout by Tampa Bay in any way, shape, or form. I don't have these two teams much further than a field goal here. So I'd be willing to take the 8.5 here and tease New England up.
It is a massive game for the Patriots because we know the Patriots' schedule has really worked out in their favor. They already have knocked off the Buffalo Bills. You're going to play the Buffalo Bills again. But if you can win games like this, which is one of the tougher games you're going to have left on your schedule, and then you possibly beat again the Buffalo Bills, you're going to win this division. Then you're all of a sudden looking at yourself, can you be the number one overall seed in the AFC? But let's not get ahead of ourselves. That's a big, tough game here on Sunday afternoon as you line up down in Florida. Another big game that we talked about with Tom Vecchio, Baltimore and Minnesota. Lamar Jackson will be the starting quarterback fresh off a victory against the Miami Dolphins. JJ McCarthy, back into the fold with a huge victory over Detroit just last week. At home, Minnesota. They're dogs in this one, 4.5, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, listen, great win by Minnesota last week, but it's not like J.J. McCarthy was the big difference maker, all right? Yeah. When you look at what he did there, he only averaged, Donnie, 3.9 yards per pass play. I mean, he's averaging 4.6 yards per play in the 3 games that he's had this year. He is not torching anybody, and they're going to need him to be able to push the ball down the field if they're going to have a chance of going toe-to-toe here. But I'm also not sold on the Ravens offensively here at all, because I don't think Lamar is 100%, and I do think Minnesota's defense, finally healthy, could cause some issues here. When you put it together, you're going to be looking at, oh, this is going to be a wild shootout. I don't think so. I think the under is the best look in this game because I think both offenses might have some problems in this game.
Let's talk to Justin Jefferson here. He's talking about McCarthy's alter ego.
The persona, I like it personally. I feel like he understands that, he has to turn on another switch when he gets in a game, and mentally, physically, you kind of got to talk yourself into it. You have to, just like me with Jets, it's the same thing. I'm Justin right now, but when I step on the field, and it's a whole different mode. So I kind of feel the same way for him. He kind of turns it on, and he turns into a different mode, when we're out there on that field and we're competing and we're going to war. So that's something that I'm kind of interested into seeing how far he takes that. But I'm just excited for him to continue to go out there with that confidence that he have, and to continue to perform.
What made you laugh at the beginning? Like, what do you find humorous?
I feel like everyone has it. Everyone has to have that ego. I feel like, especially on this team, they have a lot of nice guys on this team, and great human beings. When we go out there on that field, we don't need any more nice guys. We need some guys that are dogs, and they bound to scrap through anything. So I feel like he has that dog mentality, and he knows that he got to turn on when he steps foot on that field.
By the way, you see Justin Jefferson there. He wears that chain during games, which absolutely glitters, but he didn't have the full grill in. Does he only wear that expensive grill, Joe, during the game? Because he is blinged out during games, ready to go.
Yeah, I'm so glad you clarified. I thought he was wearing pearls. I'm like, is he wearing pearls on? What in the world are you doing, Justin Jefferson? My goodness.
Oh, my guy's worth a lot of money, and he flaunts it out there, people. More NFL talk next. Let's get out to the West Coast in the NFL.
Sauce Gardner heading over to the Indianapolis Colts as they go all in on this season and beyond. As I think a lot of people have been noting, that move does not just say, hey, we like what we have this year. It says we like what we have moving forward, and that includes Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback for Dallas. What does that decision to bring in Quinnen Williams say? That means they're poorly ran, but we already knew that.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
They didn't panic. They played like a championship team. They came back and destroyed them, probably cost Brian Kelly his job at least a week earlier than it might have happened before. But the fact is they are playing great. But like I say, I like the talent level of all those teams. And I think if you want to have a little bang for your buck and play around with a team that could slide in, Ole Miss might be that team.
The Bowden Blitz. Only on SportsGrid.
Governor calls you out in a football state. You're out.
And it was so funny, too, because after he fired Kelly on Sunday, right, Woodward released a statement that said that, in effect, that he was still in charge of the athletic department. Well, you didn't check with the governor because apparently he had other plans for the athletic department, and you're not in them.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all three Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Let's get out to the West Coast here for Sunday Night Football. And look at those Pittsburgh Steelers where everybody had dead to rights saying, Baltimore's eventually going to catch you. They rose up and knocked off the Indianapolis Colts, one of the best teams in the NFL, last Sunday in Pittsburgh. Now they take the show on the road to take on the Los Angeles Chargers. Can Pittsburgh's defense rise to the occasion again? Because they do have some advantages. That is a banged-up offensive line for the Chargers, explosive wideouts, and a good quarterback. But if you can't block for that quarterback, it doesn't matter here. The line, Joe, opened up at 4.5 as a favorite for the Chargers. I'm now seeing 2.5 across the board now. How about that?
I got to give the Chargers credit. I mean, my goodness. To lose not one, but both starting tackles here and 2 all-pros at that with Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater is just the fact that you're in this spot is kind of crazy. Keep in mind, Donnie, the winner of this game will see their playoff chance percentage rise to 80%. The loser will drop below 50% to make the playoffs. So this is a huge game for these teams. But the Steelers, listen, the Steelers have always been about, as a dog, I want to back them, right? They will be more than happy to, get into a game in which it's going to be all about the trenches and who's going to be able to stop who. Yeah, I think this is going to be a lower scoring game, and I think the ability to be able to now get Pittsburgh at plus 2.5 and use them as another leg of a teaser, Donnie, getting them up over 8.5. I like the under, and I like the Steelers and teasers. And hurry up, because that might not last that long.
Here we go, Steelers. By the way, did you know, what year is this? It's 2025. Daniel Jones leads the NFL in passing at 2,404 yards over Herbert, Mahomes, Dak, and Drake. Impressive stuff here for Daniel Jones. As we talked about, he'll play 9:30 a.m. this weekend against the Atlanta Falcons overseas in Germany here. Monday Night Football, the Eagles and the Packers, NFC supremacy. Oh, boy, the Eagles are an underdog in this game, Joe. But I like my Eagles. I actually think the Eagles win. But I see the totals. 84% of the ticket count on the Philadelphia Eagles. That line opened up 2.5, Joe. That line still sits 2.5. Oh, no! The public. I hope you're right. I hope the Eagles win.
I don't understand this line, Donnie. This line is implying that the Eagles and the Packers are even on a neutral field. That might have been the case when Tucker Kraft was still in the lineup because the guy is an absolute difference maker. But now that he is lost for the season and you added Phillips and get Carter back, no, this is not. I think this is all the value is on the Eagles, and that would be the only way I'd look. And Donnie, another teaser opportunity here with the Eagles to get them at 8.5 in what no doubt is going to be a lower scoring game.
I hate the Jets. Well, the Jets are going to play this Sunday at 1 o'clock here. Cleveland and New York. Gabriel versus Fields. And a favorite here for the Cleveland Browns on the road. I'm telling you right, I don't want to stake my claim. Say, I'm the best handicapper, and this is what we do. We take the Jets. I got to feel, again, principal plays. I got to take the Jets, Joe. I have to back the Jets this weekend. How about you?
I get it. I absolutely get it. But again, New York getting 2.5, Donnie, 8.5 in a game that is what? The total is 37.5, 38. That is a big ask for a team to cover. Low total, getting over a touchdown here. I have sworn off betting the Jets from now until eternity. I've lost enough money backing them, but I don't disagree with you that if you're going to look to bet them, now's probably not a bad time to do it. But I don't expect a whole lot of points in this, and I'd much rather have 8.5 points than 2.5 points.
Maybe not expecting a whole bunch of points in this game either. New Orleans on the road with Shuck at quarterback going up against Mr. Bryce Young. 3.5 is the opening number. No longer the case. 5.5. Carolina, after a massive victory as a huge underdog in Green Bay, return home as a favorite. Should they be favored, and should they be able to take your money, Joe, as the favorite?
It's gross, Donnie. And even though I'm not willing to bet the Jets, and I hate to admit this, I'm willing to bet the Saints. The Panthers are so overvalued right now, Donnie, after holding the Packers to 13 points last week?
Yep.
But understand this. The Packers were not forced to punt once in that game. They were their own worst. The Packers beat the Packers. Carolina did not. The entire offensive line is an absolute hot mess. Now they're losing backups on the offensive line. So you're going to have third stringers going on in this game. Absolutely not here. There's no way I think Carolina should be laying this number against even the Saints. Wouldn't shock me if the Saints do exactly what the Raiders did last night, Donnie, and that is keep this game way too close and maybe even have a shot at winning it outright late.
How about Buffalo, Miami? Any chance that the Miami Dolphins pull this one outright late against the Buffalo Bills? Joe is 9.5-point underdogs. I got a feeling, you know what's more likely in this game? Somebody get fired after the game for the Dolphins and the Dolphins winning this game. How about that?
You have a better chance of Buffalo having to forfeit the game because they couldn't get a flight to Miami than you do of actually the Dolphins winning this game in any way, shape, or form. But they did, I believe, McDaniel kind of put his foot down here, and I believe he took the Papa shot in the locker room out. He removed it. So there'll be no more basketball Papa shot playing in the locker room for the Miami Dolphins. He wants them to be a little bit more focused as we head into Week 10.
Sounds good. Focus on this. Jacksonville and Houston here quickly at this point, Joe. A 1.5-point favorite. That's it for Jacksonville. Something smells, which means your boy's going to go out here and take Davis Mills and the Texans this week. How do you like that? How's that shape up?
First 1 to 3 wins, Donnie. You know how that goes. But this might be actually a sneaky over.
Look at that.
Here. I wouldn't just assume going to be fewer things. I know. I would be careful with this. The defense could set up some scores. This might get to 40 points before it's all said and done.
Oh, Davis Mills moving the football over here. Arizona and Seattle, Joe Brissett. Yeah, he's the starter now. Sam Darnold got some extra weapons. That hot team, could it be out there in Seattle?
I think we could get some points in this game, Donnie. I don't think this will be a rock fight. I think we can get some points and look at the over.
Friday, time to get to some buys and check on you, the public, which way you're going in a Fade the Public poll. That's all next, right here on the Early Line.
Sauce Gardner heading over to the Indianapolis Colts as they go all in on this season and beyond. As I think a lot of people have been noting, that move does not just say, hey, we like what we have this year. It says we like what we have moving forward, and that includes Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback for Dallas. What does that decision to bring in Quinnen Williams say? That means they're poorly ran, but we already knew that.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
They didn't panic. They played like a championship team. They came back and destroyed them, probably cost Brian Kelly his job at least a week earlier than it might have happened before. But the fact is they are playing great. But like I say, I like the talent level of all those teams. And I think if you want to have a little bang for your buck and play around with a team that could slide in, Ole Miss might be that team.
The Bowden Blitz. Only on SportsGrid.
Governor calls you out in the football state, you're out.
And it was so funny, too, because after he fired Kelly on Sunday, right, Woodward released a statement that said that, you know, in effect, that he was still in charge of the athletic department. Well, you didn't check with the governor because apparently he had other plans for the athletic department, and you're not in them.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Job well done, people. You made it to the end of the week. The early line. Yep, we're on Monday. Checkmate Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, heading into the weekend here. Now, we love to talk about a lot of stuff here and give you information that, as we like to say, you can take to the water cooler. But now's the time of the show that we want to reach out to the public and ask, where are you going? Here's the Fade the Public poll. I love it. This just made my day, Joe. Like, usually get a couple hundred votes here, give or take, and see where the people are going. We sent out a poll today on the SportsGrid network here, which, again, you can go right to X and follow us at SportsGrid and find it. Who will win this season's NBA Cup, Joe, with a question mark? There's 4 options: OKC, Cavaliers, Magic, and the Warriors. I'm looking right now, Joe. 15 people voted in this poll this morning. NBA, that shows the ratings right there, Joe. What do you think?
I love it. And what we're looking about what? OKC, shocker. And there's no reason to think that they won't or should not be the favorite. But I do like the Cavs. I think that's interesting too. Now that they are finally healthy, have Darius Garland back in company, and may just cause some issues here. I think when it's all said and done, I don't mind the Cavs at that price, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, Cavs plus 850, Magic 16-1, the NBA Cup. Let me know, Joe, when they actually announce who's in the Cup Finals, and we'll cheer it on and go from there.
Yes.
Let me just I want to go off topic right now. Like, I see some things like in the NFL, like landscape and the betting landscape, and Jaylen Brown comes out, oh, it's miserable that people yell at me that I didn't close their parlay. Did you see the one yesterday where Giants kicker Graham Gano says, oh, people are wishing like cancer and death on me, which you never should do. Those are horrible human beings. But you know what? I'm tired of those stories, Joe. Can they please say, hey, man, I scored twice last night. I had 1 million people in there wanting to send me bottles of champagne. I'm the greatest player in the history of the world, and they just named their firstborn child after me. Where are those stories? Because they got to be out there, Joe. You know when a guy's a big performance, he's getting all the love in the world. Why do we only hear the negativity? Where's the positivity of sports gambling?
Oh, trust me, they get that, right? So that ego is being fed when they have great games. They just don't like the negativity when they don't have a good game. But listen, you're never going to be able to make everybody happy here. No. There's winners, there's losers, and unfortunately, you're stuck right in the middle there. So all you can do is your part, Donnie. That's it.
Yeah, show me Luka Doncic's DMs after a game where he has a triple-double with 35 points. Now, I'm pretty sure it's not like, I hate you. What, the guy that lost the ticket sends it in? No. All that love. Give me the outpouring of love and support where a guy goes, man, you know what? Legal sports gambling is kind of cool. You see my DMs, man. Everybody loves me here. Play good, we will love you here. Now, let's get to the news of the day. That's bye, baby. Come on now. The NBA has been so good to me this week, Joe. That's where I'm going with my play. But before we get there, you got a full card tonight, Joe. NCAA, you got hockey, you got NBA. Where are you going tonight? Bye.
I'm going to go with a little late night special here, 9 o'clock Eastern time. You will get
stay up.
Little Big Ten action. Still feels weird saying this here. USC at home taking on Northwestern. And listen, it's no shock here, Donnie. Lincoln Riley teams with USC have always been better at home than they have been on the road. And USC this year, outside of a final 20-second, 75-yard bomb against a backup cornerback in the Michigan State game, they'd be a perfect 4-0 against the number at home this year. But don't forget, the last time they were home, Donnie, they smacked a pretty good Michigan team, 31-13 at home in this spot. They have not been home since that game. They welcome in a Northwestern team who offensively is challenged, to say the least. You're talking about a Lincoln Riley team that averages, Donnie, close to 40 points a game at home in this spot. They will score that many points here. They will have no problem covering the 14.5 points tonight.
SC, baby, lock it down in the Coliseum. I'm going back to the NBA. We're going to do the same thing we keep doing here, fading the public. And I got major CLV already going on. The Toronto Raptors and the Atlanta Hawks, Joe. Raptors opened up overnight as a 2-point favorite. They're now -2.5 for the Atlanta Hawks as a favorite. Ticket count, 7 out of every 10 tickets here for Toronto. We're taking the Atlanta Hawks -1.5 for another Friday night explosion. NBA fade the public play. That's how we get down to business, Joe. Friday's payday. Sounds like a 2-0 night on deck for the boys.
Love it. A lot of great action in the association here tonight. NBA Cup night, Donnie, and I know you'll be watching every one of them.
I'll be fast asleep dreaming about those cups, baby. Donnie right side and Joe Ranieri. It's the early line for a great week. We'll see you bright and early on Monday morning.